So we're going to talk about triangle congruence, and we're going to say that two geometric figures are congruent if and only if the vertices can be matched up so that the angles and segments are congruent. Another word for segment is going to be the side. So let's start with the segment, and let's look at this congruent statement. We start at C, and then we go to A, and then we go to T. So you have to have the same direction, and you have to start with the corresponding vertices for the second polygon. So then I start at D, go to O, go to G, and then back to D. So let's talk about the angles. Angles can be marked by hatchings. I just want to remind us of that. So I say angle C is congruent to angle D. And then we're going to mark O and A. So then I say angle A is congruent to angle O. And then the last angle is going to be angle T, which is going to be congruent to angle G. And then you have the corresponding sides. The corresponding sides, let's do in a different color. So the corresponding sides are going to be side CA is going to go with OD. So CA is congruent to, or we should say DO because we want to go the same direction because we went up that way. And then you're going to say that you have side AT congruent with side OG. And then lastly, you're going to say that you have side TC congruent with GD, or segment TC congruent with DG, or GD, just depending on the direction. All right, so when we're referring to congruent triangles, the name is going to correspond with the vertices, and it has to be, again, in the same order. So I'm going to erase what I have going on here, and we are going to write the triangle congruent statements, and we're going to base it on the direction of the first vertice indicated in this example. I'm going to start with vertice A, then I go to T, and then I go to C. So this is the direction of my triangle. So now we have to start with the corresponding vertices in the second triangle, and that's going to be O, and then the O is going to go to G, and then D, and then back up. So I go O, G, D. Okay, I have triangle TCA, so I start at T, I go to C, and then I go to A. So that means that for the second triangle, I'm going to start at G, go to D, then go to O. So it's G, D, O. The last triangle is going to be C, T, A. So for the second triangle, I'm going to start at D, G, and then O. So it's G, D, O. Okay. So when we talk about congruence statements, we're going to talk about corresponding parts. Remember, this is the exact same part, and we can just go by what's labeled here. For triangle A, let's start with angles. Or for triangle ABC, we're going to start with the triangle with the angles on the second triangle, which would be DFE. So angle A is congruent to angle D. Angle C is congruent to angle F. And then angle B is congruent to angle E. Then you have segments. And I know that AC goes with FD. Or DF, doesn't matter. And then you're going to say that CB goes with EF. And then I'm going to say that AB is congruent to DE. Okay, last I have my triangles. Remember, it starts at the vertex. And this is going to be tricky. I'm going to say that I have triangle ABC is going to be congruent with triangle DEF. DEF. Because remember, we're talking about the direction. Then I can also say that I have triangle ACB congruent with DFE. There's lots of combinations here. So the last combination I'm going to give you is BAC, or triangle BAC is going to be congruent with triangle EDF. Okay, we're going to look to find the value of x and y. I've already marked the diagram, so angle R is congruent to angle P, and then line segment AR is congruent to IP. So let's find x first, and we're going to use ARIP as the corresponding sides. So those two segments, AR equals 12 and IP equals 2x minus 4. So we're going to solve for x first. Add 4 to both sides. 16 equals 2x. Divide both sides by 2. X equals 8. So from here, we can say that x equals 8. And then you're going to say that angle R corresponds with angle P to get y. So 68 equals 6y plus x. X equals 8, so let's substitute 8 equals 6y plus 8. We have to solve for y, so we're going to subtract 8 from both sides. And I'm going to get 60 equals 6y. So 60 equals 6y. Divide both sides by 6. Y equals 10. So your solutions are x equals 8 and y equals 10. So the next question says, write a congruent statement for the triangles and find the value of x. Well, that's pretty simple. So the congruent statements is going to go like this. Again, we're going to find the direction. I like to go in alphabetical order. So we're going to start at vertex A, go A, B, C. So triangle A, B, C is congruent to triangle F, D, E. Unfortunately, that was not in alphabetical order, but it corresponded with the same sides. So it's FDE. And now we have to find x. We know that since they're in the same position, that angle B is congruent to angle D. So angle B is 87 and angle D is 4x plus 15. So that's how we're going to find the x. So 87 equals 4x plus 15. Subtract 15 from both sides. 4x is going to be equal to 72. Divide both sides by 4. And you get x equals 8 as your solution. And that is that example.